Tweet @TodaySOR.
Early morning Irish greyhound racing will start next month in Kilkenny and then in January at Kilcone Park in Waterford City, and it will see, wait for it, racing getting underway at 18 minutes past 8 in the morning. This move though has caused deep concern among gambling addiction groups, and for his response, and I'll be speaking later to a representative of the Greyhound Board, but first we're going to hear from Professor Colin O'Gara, Head of Addiction Services at St John of God Hospital in Stillorgan in Dublin. This is, I suppose, just the latest development, is moving with the times, Professor O'Gara, but what are your thoughts on this new development in greyhound racing in Ireland?
Thank you, Sean. Good morning. I would be concerned, like a lot of treatment providers, that this is opening up gambling to a new audience, and it's really on a background of the intense proliferation of gambling over the last few years in Ireland. So certainly I would be concerned about that. I'd also be concerned about the impact of this on problem gamblers in particular. So individuals who we know the industry takes a disproportionate amount of money from. I would be concerned that people who have problem gambling have lost insight into reality. They've lost insight into the nature of their gambling. And as a result, Sean, I would be concerned that, these are the kind of people I would have thought that at 8:18 in the morning are going to be gambling,
But are they not in a position to gamble in any event 24/7 without the arrival of this new greyhound racing at that hour of the morning? There are plenty of other options there for them.
There is, absolutely, and that's a reasonable suggestion, but I suppose the argument is that this represents more proliferation, and somewhere, in the absence of regulation and legislation, we ultimately don't have a regulatory framework at the moment, Sean, which is quite concerning. Over in the UK, they have better regulation, but you've seen the British Sports Minister Tracy Crouch resigned in the last few weeks as a result of the lack of impetus over there. So I think Ireland, we're in a very dangerous situation at the moment, because for many years we've been asking for regulation and it hasn't come in. I do think this proliferation and this being an example, it's a major concern to us, Sean.
And are there many problem gamblers? Is there an estimate for the number of people with gambling problems in this country?
We don't have the exact data, but we can extrapolate from the UK. If we extrapolate from the UK, there are probably 40,000 very severe problem gamblers and probably over 110,000 less severe. But all of those people would fit into the category of problem gamblers. And I would say,
40,000, did you say?
40,000 very severe, and up to 100,000 of a less severe category of problem gamblers, yes. And I would suggest that is a relatively conservative estimate, actually, because it could go even higher. It can go even up to 5% of the overall population, which you'd be looking up to 200,000 or more. That's
a lot of misery potentially. And how do you discern? I mean, how do you distinguish between people who are serious problem gamblers and then people who have a problem?
So, like all medical conditions, Sean, this medical condition would be on a spectrum. So, you don't have everybody fitting into the same category. So you would have some people who display a lack of control and poor risk processing with regards to certain gambling decisions, and it goes all the way up then to individuals who've completely and utterly lost control. They have no control whatsoever over their gambling, and it's not just the effect on the person. It's the studies show that for every problem gambler, you've got about 8 people directly affected by that problem. Of course, the issue is that it's a very hidden illness in Ireland, and it is a highly stigmatised condition as well. So, it's not something that people readily come out with and talk about. However, due to the nature of the problem, and I think the severity of the problem in Ireland, we have seen a lot of individuals courageously come forward and talk about their issues, particularly sports people.
And what about, for instance, children? Are they at increasing risk? And are there signs that there are more children gambling in a very dangerous way?
Absolutely. The suggestion is from studies again that the rate of adolescent gambling is about 3 times higher. I would be particularly concerned about this group in the context of advertising in Ireland at the moment. We know that from Ofcom data in the UK that children are bombarded with gambling ads in the UK. That we know from ourselves, from looking at sport, that the situation in Ireland is no different. So children are being exposed to gambling ads all the time in Ireland, and this is a huge concern to us.
OK, we'll leave it there with yourself. That's Professor Colin O'Gara on the line there, Head of Addiction Services in St John of God Hospital in Stillorgan in Dublin. And we turn now to Joe Lewins, Director with the Irish Greyhound Board. Thanks indeed for joining us, Joe Lewins. Just explain what exactly is happening. I mean, you're going to start, it's a very precise hour of the morning, 8:18 in Kilkenny.
It's actually at 12, but we don't race normally at this time of the year, January, February, March, certainly in Kilkenny and in Waterford, which would be the two tracks. And this allows us to offer the greyhound owners and trainers the opportunity to race their dogs during these periods, which is what the Greyhound Board is all about. We, making sure we get money and support to the grassroots of the industry.
But presumably the reason it's being done in the morning is to allow you access to thousands of betting shops and also online opportunities in the UK and elsewhere.
Well, SAS is the platform provider for our product. We supply them with the product and they would sell it onwards. But I would suggest most of their sales on this will be international on time zones which are conducive for this time of the morning. There's not many betting shops, certainly none in Ireland that I'm aware of, that are open at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And what kind of money is in this for the Greyhound Board? Is it still called Board na Gun, by the way?
It is,
yeah.
But it's mainly a break even in the first, certainly for the first few weeks, first 10 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
But it does provide a revenue income for the guys to race their dogs, and they will obviously benefit from prize money and keep the dogs going throughout the months when there's no racing available.
Yeah, it says, I see your statement earlier, your strategic plan 2018 to 2022, launched earlier this year, targeted competing within the betting industry as a priority for the board. Now, I mean, did you hear what Professor O'Gara, Dr. O'Gara said earlier about the problem in this country in relation to gambling and his serious concerns about what you are doing in the greyhound industry?
We have 7 greyhound meetings going rising to 9 that will be provided in SIS.
Sorry, just explain. SIS. That's the broadcasting dimension of this.
That's the broadcasting satellite information services. But all we're doing is providing a product. In terms of gambling, we only offer a tote. We're tote betting, and there's only a small amount of money bet per race and tote. An average customer going to one of our tracks spends approximately £2.50 per race, which is it's part of the entertainment, and we would say they were getting entertainment and enjoyment from that. In fact, if you look at going to the cinema, and I have with the children lately,
but it's what's happening. It's what's happening online as much as anything else, isn't it? I mean, it's not really for the punters who are going to show up at that hour of the morning.
Yeah, but if you look at all the products online, we provide 7 to 10 greyhound meetings within the online industry, and they would allow customers to bet on our product. We don't actually get involved in the gambling bit of it. We provide the product for people, for the companies to onward sell.
So just explain a bit more about how this is going to work, Joe, because like you show up and as you say, the first race is at 8:12, and how many races would there be then in the course of a morning?
10 races, which would conclude at 10:41.
That's very precise. So it really is made for the the satellite system, isn't it?
It is. It's 15 minutes gaps between races. It's part of an overall schedule.
We have a text in here from a listener, maybe making a very interesting and valid point. Aside from gambling, what about the school traffic?
Well, we looked at a number of tracks, and we felt Kilkenny and what would probably be the best 2 tracks to avail of this type of racing, and as much as the dogs would have to be weighed in at 7:30, so we're quite a way ahead of the school traffic.
Yeah, except for the people who might want to go along and attend the races. I mean, will there be full facilities? Will there be bars open at that hour of the morning in those greyhound tracks?
No, the facilities would be if somebody wants a coffee and possibly a breakfast roll. That would be about as much as that would be available. And
this is an initial 6-month experiment, is it?
It's a trial. We want to see if it works. It works for our owners and trainers, and see if it works for the SIS. It is a 6-month trial, and we'll review it after 6 months with the board.
OK, well, look, thank you very much indeed for talking to me. That's Joe Lewins there, Director with the Irish Greyhound Board. We'll take a break.
Today with Sean O'Rourke on RTE Radio 1.